is going to be a little bit different from previous videos, and that's because it's a life update. I did a poll a long time ago asking you guys if you wanted not only a mental health update every now and then, but also content about what I do when I'm not grinding YouTube. So here's that video, long overdue. I want to start off by saying how I'm doing mentally before I get into the stuff I'm doing otherwise. The first thing is that I did recently have a mini episode that didn't follow the usual trajectory. I was hypomanic for about a week and then depressed for several days. I have since recovered, of course, because here I am making my normal videos, but I wasn't depressed for very long, which was kind of unusual. Normally it would have lasted a week or two given the length of the hypomania. Like, I've had many episodes where I've been hypomanic for a weekend and then depressed for 2 weeks. So only being depressed for a couple days is extremely weird for me. But it's very possible that my new depression meds, the ones I started last year, which included L-methylfolate and an increase in lithium, are really just doing their job and keeping me out of depression. Like, yes, it still happens, but it's even more manageable than it was before. So yay to modern pharmaceuticals. And my psychotic symptoms aren't doing anything crazy these days. It's just the usual fleeting comments from my voices with a solid conversation a few times a week, aka my normal. But a big thing I'm doing for my mental health these days is I'm focusing on de-stressing and relaxation. Sounds kind of dumb, but stick with me. This is really important for those that struggle with mental health. I'm working on trying to relax and unwind and de-stress better because I'm a very stressed out person almost all the time, and I know it has an impact on my mental health. Because being stressed all the time isn't good for your health, physical or otherwise. So I'm doing this in 3 ways currently. The first is that I'm doing whole body skincare in an effort to take better care of myself. I struggle with body image issues, so doing something like this is a big help for that. I seek to respect my body because it does a lot for me. The next thing is that I'm playing more calming video games. I play a variety of games all the way from horror to cozy, and I do love me some Halo. But for this, I'm sticking to relaxing farming sims like Story of Seasons, Harvest Moon, and Stardew Valley. So I unwind by doing some virtual farming, and it's super helpful. I cannot express how peaceful it is to just water plants and pet cute cows. I love it so much. Finally, the third thing is I've added something called acupressure to my nightly routine. And I do that by using an acupressure mat. This is the one that I use. It's got literally thousands of tiny spikes. I'm sure you can see them, and they are very, very, very pokey. But basically it works to calm you down, give you restful sleep, de-stress. It kind of works like a massage, and I've actually found it super helpful. And it was really the sleep part that sold me on trying it, because ever since I went off sleeping pills last year, I've had a really rough time getting to sleep. Like, it sometimes takes me an hour just to fall asleep, maybe even longer, I'm not 100% sure. And even then, I don't always stay asleep, so I just haven't had good sleep. So the promise of a restful night of sleep, uninterrupted, was appealing to me. And I'm delighted to say that actually, yes, it really works. I've had this thing for several weeks now, and I lay on it before I go to sleep every single night. Sometimes I fall asleep on it, but I usually wake up shortly after, roll off the mat, and then actually sleep on my mattress. They say target like 20 minutes, but oftentimes I average anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour when I time it. But yeah, it's definitely life-changing, and I'm really happy about that because I was in some dire straits when it came to my sleep schedule, that's for sure. And I do want to say that I'm not like formally or informally recommending this. I'm just saying that it's something that helps me and has worked for me. So if you make the decision to try it, you assume the responsibility of that decision. But yeah, who would have thought that a modern day bed of nails would have been the solution to all of my sleeping issues? Golly. Wonder if I can get this thing on a plane. And that's how I'm working to improve my mental health as of late. De-stressing is so important. Now with the mental health update done, let's talk about what I've been up to. One of the bigger things that happened to me recently is I went to a massive anime convention called Katsucon. It's held at the Gaylord Resort on National Harbor in Maryland, close to Washington, D.C., and it is an absolutely gorgeous venue. It's probably the fanciest convention I go to, and I've been to a lot of conventions over the years. My favorite part is probably that they have this little atrium area with trees and shops, but since it's all indoors, it's not cold or hot, which is really awesome because the convention takes place in the middle of winter. And it's so picturesque and amazing, and I just love it there. And as for the con itself, I cosplay, so I wore some of my best costumes and some new ones too. I was a cute Umbreon one day, and I wore both of my favorite armor builds. Then I was a cyberpunk girl and I had a fantastic time wearing all of these costumes. But my favorite one will always be my Minecraft bee cosplay because it's just so much fun to be a bee. I mean, come on, I'm adorable. Cosplay conventions to me are a way to escape the world, and I don't have to be Schizoaffective Kit. I get to be Ariel, I get to be Sailor Jupiter, I get to be Umbreon, I get to be a Minecraft bee. It's very freeing, and as a result, cosplaying conventions are a huge part of my life. And Katsucon is one of the 2 big cons I'm doing this year. The other big one is an anime convention called Otakon, and it's also held close to DC, but in a different place. But at Katsucon, I did cave into the hypermania and bought 2 bee-themed things. The first thing is this super cute bee-themed keychain with like an adorable face that just sparks joy whenever I look at it. And you bet this thing is on my purse with a couple other bee keychains because you know what? He needs some friends. He needs some friends. And the second thing I got was a little tote bag with a little stuffed bee on the top, like this. And the whole idea, and this is what sold me on, is you hold the tote bag and you have the bee. You have the bee on your shoulder, like a little friggin' Pokemon. And I love it, and I bought it. It's great, and I haven't used it yet. But I also just got it like a while ago, so I haven't had an opportunity to use it yet, but I will use it for something. But it's just, oh, it's so cute. So yeah, I'm glad I found bee. There's a strange thing that happens at conventions these days, and I've noticed it in the last like 5 years or so, and it's that whatever con you go to, whether it's anime, comic, variety, etc., there's always bee-themed stuff now. And I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining at all. My wallet is complaining, but I'm not complaining. But I love that like whatever con I go to, I'm going to be able to find like a bee pin or a bee keychain or a bee bag. Like there's always some kind of bee thing I get to bring home with me. So, okay, yeah, good stuff. So Katsucon, from many perspectives, was an absolute raving success for me. I also did an 18th century Revolutionary War reenactment recently. And it's basically a weekend of 18th century camping in 18th century clothes at battle sites all across the East Coast. I've reenacted on both sides, Americans and British, and it's super fun. We cook traditional recipes over a fire in traditional pots and pans, and wear historically accurate clothes while we do all of it. Yes, that means I wear stays and petticoats. The event I went to was a reenactment of the Battle of Guilford Courthouse, which is famous for being known as the turning point in the Revolutionary War, aka the war where the Americans fought for and won their independence from Britain. So it was super cool to be there for it again this year. Now, there are people, typically men, who do reenact the actual battles with historically accurate weapons and they fire blanks. So there are gunshots and cannons and even people on horseback at these things. But I portray something simpler, something called a camp follower. Camp followers were people that still traveled with the military from battle to battle, but they stayed back at camp. So for me, that looks like getting lost in a knitting project, helping cook, and talking with other reenactors and engaging with the public. And I will say, the cooking, the food, is always amazing at these events. And the coffee is even better. Making coffee the 18th century way, aka over a fire in a cast iron pot, is so dang good. I love reenacting. The next thing was that I was on a podcast. It was still for the SchizoKitzo project, but it was kind of outside of YouTube. The podcast is called This Is Bipolar, and I've linked it in the description if you want to check it out. I talk about everything from my psychotic break to my catatonic episodes, so if you want to know more about my story, and even some stuff that didn't make it into my videos, then it's a candid conversation that I think you'd enjoy. Totally different from my regular content, and I'm really happy with how the episode turned out. And that's really it. If you like this, let me know in the comment section down below. And if this video is received well, I will definitely do another one in the future. So thanks for joining me. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.